assessment of the game? Sorry.
A little wild, I mean, for both teams, and it's really hard to get control or know and predict what's things are gonna look like. So we had a basic plan, and then it was trying to be a bit safer than normal, and then try and adjust. I think both teams look like first game of the season, and when it's like that and you don't have much control and you haven't had loads of experience of everyone together in a league game, sometimes it takes a while. So I think we grabbed a very important goal in the first half, and then we weathered a little bit of the storm. For AD France was unbelievable in keeping the clean sheet, and so was the back line, doing such a good job. And then the last 25-30, I thought we could have scored a lot more, and we got the second one, which is important. So it was a wild, challenging game with no real control. It looked like a basketball game. And sometimes you're clinging onto your seat, hoping things don't break down. Next minute, you're trying to celebrate a goal. So great to get the 3 points. The clean sheet, I think, is really big time, and it's a platform for us to build off.
It did seem like the second half things may have settled down a little bit more, and like you said, you guys had a good stretch towards the end of the game where you had plenty of opportunities to score. Did you see a difference between the first and second half from your team?
Yeah, I think that the space that Orlando gave us in the first half, they had such a high line, we needed to get behind them, and we didn't find that quick enough, and we did a few times and we got some good opportunities from it. Second half, the game got a bit more balanced. I think the pockets started opening up between Orlando, and then sometimes it was behind them. And I felt we'd done better in finding the pockets, playing in between them, going forward, getting runners past the first and second player. And it was easier to play, but that's most games in this league. Teams are going to always press us. They're always going to press us because they know that our centre mids want the ball and want to control the game. If they press us like Orlando did, we've got to be able to take the space behind them. Then the team has to adjust, and Orlando did today. And then the gaps are there for us to get on the ball and try and do what we like to do. So it's a good step and a great learning opportunity for us. And the first half, manage emotions, manage the game. We hadn't seen anything on Orlando. I mean, we got the lineup pretty close, but tactically, we were coming in very cold. They were coming in watching every single second, and they made fun of it before the game. They had their popcorn, watching the tournament, watching everything we tried to do, and we hadn't seen anything of them. It's not nice coming in blind, and you just got to manage it, and the players manage that incredibly well. It's a really, really great group that are hungry and intelligent just to deal with some madness out there and adjust on the fly a little bit, and they did that. And then you see what Ali Long did there. I mean, we missed that a little bit in the first half. Ali Long breaking out, winning the ball off their deep liar and breaking with sink. Ali Long, that was a piece of magic there. It shows the world-class ability that she's shown here in the last few years. It's great to have players like that in your group.
How important is that relationship? You've got players who've been together, granted first game of the year, but they've played together over the years. How important is that, especially in a game like this, where maybe there is a lot of franticness to it?
Yeah, it's often a bit frantic when, beginning first game or after an international break. This is both. This is a first game and they just got back, so you have 2 or 3 days to remind them of everything. We had a few international breaks last year, and think about it, Chicago away, Seattle away, these were games that we had just got our group back. It's wild, and we learned a lot last year. Those relationships are key. We learned a lot last year that in these games we want to try and do things that give us an opportunity to be good in the game, and sometimes they don't work. We haven't had the time together, and you've got to manage the game. You've got to be smart enough and not too arrogant to just hold on to what you think should be happening. And I learned that last year. I remember Chicago away. We were 1-0 up, and the first 30 minutes I thought we controlled the whole game. In the second half, our energy zapped and our distances got bigger because we hadn't trained together, and I kept trying to put the foot on the gas, and the team couldn't do it. And we learned from that game there and then. Sometimes we have to manage the game, manage momentum, manage the occasion. Today, the players did a really good job of that. I was okay. I was still a little bit excited and sometimes anxious. They did a really good job in pulling us through this, and it's an important one, especially first game.
You had some absences with Tobin out, and then also Catherine Reynolds and Dagny. How do you feel like you guys managed without them, and the players that came in stepped up?
yeah, missing the players that we missed, having Lindsay Horan, who's trained just this week, hasn't been with us all pre-season, going there. Sel Bouret at right back, Mal Weber getting a start there. So thinking that we have these players coming back in to get healthy and fit, thinking about Rasso, who's been out for 2 weeks and trained 2 days this week, these players getting fit, getting stronger and having everyone available, it's a really exciting prospect, and we've had a positive mindset in managing the challenges of having a few people out throughout pre-season. Today, I think that the group, again, the credit to the individuals in making this happen today, making the result possible with keeping a clean sheet, putting their bodies on the line, AD pulling us out of trouble a couple of times, and then goal scorers and game changers ready to do that on the other end. So it's thinking about those players coming back in, Tobin, Kath, Dagny, and other players getting fitter and healthier. It's exciting, and they're all doing good. They're all doing good. I expect a lot more available for North Carolina next week when we travel, and that's exciting.
2 more questions.
Ali was obviously dropping back the first half. Was she dropping back farther the first half than you would have liked sometimes and not getting forward as much, or because of that pressure?
Yeah, we love to rotate a lot, and I took the decision that we didn't want to go and rotate too much today. We hadn't trained. We had missed each other for 2 weeks with the break, or 10 days, and we put the responsibility with Ali to be out. She's always our brain on the team, and there's messages that go through her, and she manages a lot for us when we're on the field. We felt that Ali, being the single person playing just under the 2 attacking centre mids, being the defensive mid on her own, sometimes she dropped into the back line to get the ball, sometimes she broke out like you saw and someone sits in. We stopped the rotation that normally happens. We wanted it to be a little bit more simple and not overcomplicate it. And I thought Ali adjusted really well, and you saw there at the end, you can't have her just at the back. You can't just keep her up front. You got to be able to get her everywhere, and I hope we do more of that going forward. Today she had some restriction for sure, and she handled that superbly. And when she got the release of life to break free, you see what happens, and that's the cool thing for us, that we get to be as fluid as we are with players like her, Lindsay, and Mandine, that can play anywhere in those 3 midfield spots.
Last question. Anything else?
Is that what you and Ali were kind of chatting with her at the end of the game? I saw she came over and...
we were talking about the pressure she put on the ball when we got the second goal. We had lacked that. There wasn't anyone else on the field. At half-time we had talked about that. Individual pressure on the ball. And Ali broke out, and I told her she was world class. Because how many people will break out, win that ball with the strength she did, break away with pace, and then play the perfect pass for Sinky to slot home. So we're talking about that, and then we're talking about the referee for about 10 minutes. It was an interesting conversation.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ali next.